The city grew from metal, glass, and light. It stretched across hundreds of levels, each with its own life, its own gravity, its own truth. The top level gleamed with the sterile whiteness of solar panels and breathed the wind that still remembered the sky. The lower levels were buried in shadow, in noise, in the endless flickering of neon signs. Leo lived on the 72nd level, somewhere between the clouds and the underground. He was 17 and had neither a future nor a past. His world was confined to gray pipes, rusty bridges, and narrow corridors filled with damp air. His only friend was a repaired drone he had assembled himself from parts scavenged in the trash chutes. The drone had no name, only a code V4N. It followed Leo everywhere, blinking with yellow lights and letting out a low buzz whenever it found something interesting. One morning, Leo awoke to the ceiling of his room vibrating. He got up, walked to the window, and saw a giant spherical object suspended above the city. A black orb with a smooth surface, no windows, no doors, no markings. It didn't belong to any corporation, didn't transmit any signals, didn't respond to any queries. It simply hovered and remained silent. People were afraid, corporations held emergency councils. The military stayed silent. The orb didn't move, but its presence altered the air. It became thicker, electric. On the lower levels, some people started getting sick. Others disappeared. The old myth that the sky is glass and would one day shatter returned among the youth who feared nothing. In every district, graffiti began to appear. The glass sky is waiting. The crack is near. Look up. Leo didn't believe in myths, but something inside him stirred when he saw the orb. V4N began acting differently, silent, hovering, staring upward. One day it flew off on its own, higher than the 72nd level. Leo didn't dare follow, but the drone returned the next day. Its casing glowed pale blue, and on its side was a new symbol, a tiny spiral. Leo knew the drone had learned something. He tracked its route upward, all the way to level 1. That level was reserved for high officials, inaccessible to ordinary people, but the drone had slipped through ventilation shafts. Leo began to prepare for the climb. He drew up maps from hundreds of plans, studied the security systems, packed everything he could carry, food, water, tools, power cells. And he set out. His path took him through abandoned tunnels, dead elevators, and districts overgrown with moss and rust. The city changed with each level. It became quieter, emptier, more mysterious. It felt like he wasn't climbing up, but descending inward into himself. On the 10th level, he met his first obstacle, security bots patrolling the old passages. He disabled them with V4N's help, which could reprogram the weaker models. On the 5th level, he found an abandoned laboratory with bodies. People in white coats lay as if asleep in capsules, and nearby were screens with a single message. The glass sky is a door. Leo barely slept. He moved onward like in a dream. Fragments of memories began surfacing, memories he never had, visions of forests, skies, oceans. It felt as if someone had embedded these dreams in him long ago, and only now they were awakening. When he reached the rooftop, not just of level 1, but the very top of the city where there were no more buildings, only sky and silence, the orb still hung above. It was massive, silent, blinding. V4N flew up to it and disappeared inside. The orb's surface opened only for the drone like a ripple in water. Then, silence. Leo stood alone. He touched the orb. It was cold, but it let him in. He stepped forward and fell into light. He found himself inside a space with no gravity, only radiance and the outlines of incomprehensible shapes. There was no time there, no pain. In front of him, V4N floated. The drone unfolded like a lotus, revealing a tiny core, pulsing, alive. It connected with Leo through a touch, and Leo saw. The city was an experiment, the glass orb a point of exit. His memory was not his own. He was not a child of the trash levels. He was one of the key carriers. Within him was the termination program. The glass sky was to break only when the carrier arrived of his own will. No command, no force, willingly. Leo remembered his name, his real name. The entire code activated, and the city began to change. The glass orb dissolved. For the first time in hundreds of years, real sky opened above the city. Clouds drifted slowly, like in a dream. People emerged from their shelters and looked up. Some cried, some laughed, some just stood in silence. And Leo was gone. His body became light, ascending upward, dissolving into the sky. V4N fell to the rooftop, its lights extinguished. But inside, the tiny spiral still glowed. And a new boy, somewhere down on the lower levels, had already found it.